Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News at 7 p.m. on LA56.
Was a pilot locked out of the cockpit of that German plane that crashed in the French Alps? The shocking new details in the investigation.
Long Beach police announced they've arrested several people for the kidnapping and killing of a 3-week-old baby girl.
A house fire in Diamond Bar turns into a death investigation. The woman who lives in that house is missing. Good evening, I'm Rudabe Shabazi in for Colleen Sullivan.
David Ono, this is Eyewitness News in LA56, LA's only live local newscast at 7 p.m. And this is a shocker. Startling new developments tonight in the investigation into the Germanwings airliner tragedy. Was one unable to access the cockpit and pilot as the Airbus 320 plunged into the French Alps? Eyewitness News reporter Leanne Suter is live in the newsroom with new details. Leanne?
David, officials have not yet said what is on that first black box recovered at the scene of the crash, but an unidentified investigator has told the New York Times that one of the pilots can be heard trying to get back into the cockpit, but there was no response from the other pilot as the plane started going down.
According to the New York Times, the evidence on the recovered cockpit voice recorder paints a frightening scene inside the jet as it began its fateful 8-minute drop into the side of the French Alps mountain. Investigators tell the newspaper that one pilot left the cockpit before the descent and was unable to get back in. He can be heard knocking on the door, then banging, trying to smash the door down, according to the New York Times. And while it sheds some light on the moments leading up to the crash, it still doesn't answer so many questions.
We cannot understand how an airplane which was in perfect technical condition was involved in such a terrible accident.
This is the view from inside the massive recovery mission. These pilots are looking for every last piece of Germanwings Flight 9525, workers dropping in from helicopters. Here they find a wheel and something more important, this black box. It is heavily damaged, but authorities reveal they were able to extract an audio file and hear voices and sounds. They haven't yet identified who is speaking, but what exactly brought down the plane remains a mystery. We're learning more about the victims, 3 Americans on board. Emily Selke of Nokesville, Virginia, a 2013 honors graduate of Drexel University, traveling with her mother, Yvonne.
I'm still kind of shocked. We're just a small little community, and I'm very sad.
And then there is the pain of those 16 10th graders and 2 teachers lost in the crash. So many lives, many wondering just what they knew as the plane went down.
Something so many are wondering. Now, since 9/11, airlines in the U.S. don't leave a pilot alone in the cockpit. If one pilot leaves, for example, to go use the bathroom, a flight attendant takes their spot in the cockpit. It is not clear if European airlines have adopted the same practice. Live in the newsroom, Leanne Suter, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Leanne, thank you. Long Beach police make several arrests in connection with the death of a baby found in a trash bin in San Diego County. The 3-week-old had been kidnapped after a shooting that left her parents and uncle injured. Giselle Angelique de Million and Anthony McCall were arrested on suspicion of murder, kidnapping, attempted murder, and conspiracy. Todd Bordeaux and Sharice Shelton, who is de Million's daughter, were arrested for accessory after the fact. Police believe the plot to kidnap Eliza de la Cruz, the 3-week-old baby, was spurred by de Million's lie to her boyfriend that she was pregnant with his twins. She allegedly told him she gave birth to his children and was on a mission to kidnap 2 babies in order to continue her lie.
We're still in the process of putting a big puzzle together. It's a messy puzzle. Actually, in my notes, I had the word evil several times, and my staff told me to take it out because I can't summarize this case any other way than people who are alleged to commit these crimes that are just evil.
As the chief talked about, she fabricated a story and wanted him to believe these children were his. Why? We don't know. We're not sure the reason behind that motivation and what her goal was in the end.
Investigators tied the case to a woman in El Segundo who was attacked in a motel room with her 4-month-old baby in the room. Police say this case is very complicated and they're still piecing everything together.
Tonight, an unfolding murder mystery in Diamond Bar and Tustin. The story begins with a house fire in Diamond Bar. The woman who lives there is missing. A short time after the fire, Tustin police located a suspicious car. Police say the car was filled with bags and other items. The car was taken to the coroner's office in Santa Ana, where experts will have a chance to examine it. The missing woman's daughter-in-law is being detained and questioned. No charges have been filed. A murder suspect was killed during a shootout with deputies in South Los Angeles. It all began with an assault with a deadly weapon call involving a woman who was apparently shot to death by the suspect in an alley in 106th Street. The circumstances leading up to the shooting and the relationship between the man and woman remain unclear. The suspect later opened fire on responding deputies when they spotted him 4 blocks away. Deputies returned fire, killing the suspect.
Put the guns down, because it don't cause nothing but trouble. Now he's lost his life and he took a life.
If you have any information about this case, you're urged to contact the LA County Sheriff's Department's Homicide Bureau at 323-890-5500.
A woman whose boyfriend reported her kidnapped for ransom from Northern California has been found safe in Huntington Beach. The father of Denise Huskins says she called him this morning to say she had been dropped off at her mother's house. Eyewitness News reporter Greg Lee has the latest from Huntington Beach.
I am very relieved.
The family of 29-year-old Denise Huskins received the news they've been hoping for. The physical therapist reportedly kidnapped in Vallejo, found safe in Huntington Beach. Her father told ABC News she called him this morning from her hometown, telling him she was okay. Officers met her here at a relative's home.
She's left the building with a family member to an undisclosed location. She is not in custody.
The Huntington Beach Police Department says it's handing over its investigation to Vallejo PD and said Huskins will be making arrangements to travel north to meet with detectives. Huskins' boyfriend, Aaron Quinn, reported her missing from his Vallejo home on Monday, hours after the alleged kidnapping. Officers say he is not a suspect. Quinn told Vallejo officers Huskins was forcibly abducted and being held for ransom. That launched a massive search, including agents from the FBI.
We're confident that we're going to be able to piece together this puzzle and have a better picture of what really occurred, how it occurred, and when it occurred.
The San Francisco Chronicle newspaper reports it received an email Tuesday from someone claiming to be the kidnapper. The person wrote that Huskins was in good health and would be returned safely today. That will certainly be part of this investigation, as well as figuring out exactly what happened. Huskins' family is relieved she is safe, but they still want more information.
Who and why? Who did this and why did they do it? Those are the questions that I would like answered.
Now, rightfully so, all these family members are very happy that Denise is safe and home tonight. Still, there's a lot of work to be done. Vallejo PD says they have no suspects at this time, but they're treating each and every single person as a person of interest. Reporting in Huntington Beach, Greg Lee, ABC7, Eyewitness News.
Breaking news in the case of a missing woman who vanished after going out on a Valentine's date in Costa Mesa. Orange County Sheriff's deputies have located her vehicle. They found the white Honda Civic belonging to 27-year-old Erica Alonzo in the area of Cedar Brook and Redwood in Aliso Viejo. Investigators are processing the vehicle for evidence. They ask anyone with additional information to give them a call.
A violent fiery crash involving 4 vehicles claims 2 lives near Paris. It happened at Ramona Expressway near Hanson Avenue in Nuevo. Cal Fire and Riverside County firefighters responding to the scene found some people were trapped, and one of the 4 vehicles was on fire. One of the survivors, who had major injuries, was airlifted to a trauma center. The California Highway Patrol is investigating the cause of this crash.
Amazing video tonight as severe weather across Oklahoma has turned deadly. The Tulsa County Sheriff's Department is reporting 1 fatality and many injuries. This after dangerous storms swept across the area. Forecasters issuing a tornado warning. There's already damage reported in Moore, Oklahoma. Tornadoes have also been reported in northwestern Arkansas.
Well, our weather is certainly getting warmer, plus those storms are continuing over in that part of the country. Jonathan Novak joins us.
Yeah, unfortunately, David, Rudabay folks still under the gun from parts of Oklahoma all the way up to the Midwest and Illinois, with severe thunderstorm watches in effect throughout the night and warnings as well. Right now, you see all these cells right here, severe thunderstorms happening at this moment, and flooding, flash flooding as well, spattered throughout this batch of showers and storms going on in that portion of the country. They are still going to have to deal with that throughout the evening time. For us, it is, of course, dry, and it is going to be extremely hot. Today was, you could call it hot, certainly in some spots. We actually hit 90 in Corona, 87 Woodland Hills, 89 Fillmore. 88. Pasadena. In the valley right now, we head to Van Nuys. It is 82 at the moment as your current temperature. And then the temperatures elsewhere are pretty much like that in the lower 80s. Some upper 70s around Fullerton, 77. 81 though in Temecula and Hemet. Tomorrow, those numbers going way up. Details ahead in that 70 forecast. Possibly some records broken.
Oh boy. All right, Jonathan, thank you. See you soon. Marking a significant expansion of military involvement in Iraq, U.S. forces began airstrikes today in the embattled city of Tikrit. That's according to the commander of the U.S.-led campaign to defeat the Islamic State. Officials say the Iraqi government directly requested the support from the U.S., which until now had been uninvolved in the offensive in Tikrit. Officials say more attacks will be carried out in the coming days. A suicide car bombing in the heart of the Afghan capital kills at least 6 people and wounds 31 others. The explosion happened near a local police station. However, all of the casualties were civilian. Officials say the target is still unclear. The area is full of potential targets, including the finance ministry, defense ministry, and the presidential palace, and a major Shiite Muslim shrine. And hours after the attack, Afghan President Ashraf Ghani spoke before a joint meeting of Congress trying to repair the U.S.-Afghan relations that became strained under former President Hamid Karzai.
Tragedy brought our two countries together, but it's our shared interests and values that will keep us together.
Ghani told Congress that his country owes a profound debt to the more than 2,200 American soldiers killed in Afghanistan. He also thanked the U.S. for the billions of American taxpayer dollars as the country tries to rebuild while it struggles with a stubborn insurgency.
The U.S. military sergeant who deserted his unit in Afghanistan and was then held captive for years by the Taliban has been charged today. Sergeant Bo Bergdahl could face life in prison, and today he's speaking out through his attorney.
More than 5 years after he went missing from his post in Afghanistan, Sergeant Bo Bergdahl has now officially been charged.
Desertion with intent to shirk important or hazardous duty and misbehavior before the enemy by endangering the safety of a command, unit, or place.
Bergdahl abandoned his post in 2009 and was held captive by the Taliban for 5 years after expressing his misgivings about the U.S. military's role as well as his own in Afghanistan. While waiting to learn his son's fate, Bergdahl's father even grew a beard and learned the Pashto language of his son's captors.
Bo has been gone so long that it's going to be very difficult to come back.
Last May, Bergdahl was handed over to the U.S. Special Forces in Afghanistan as part of an exchange for 5 Taliban commanders who were imprisoned in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. That exchange setting off a debate about whether the Taliban members should have been released. After spending about 2 weeks in a military hospital in Germany, Bergdahl was sent to a post in Houston in June, where he's been doing administrative duties at the base, awaiting the conclusion of his case. The next step is a preliminary hearing to determine whether there's enough evidence to merit a court-martial.
Legal experts often compare an Article 32 preliminary hearing to a civilian grand jury inquiry.
Bergdahl's attorney released a statement saying, quote, "We ask that all Americans continue to withhold judgment until the facts of this case emerge."
Incredible video up next here at 7 o'clock. A dramatic rescue inside a smoke-filled home. A police officer rushing inside his frantic search for a child.
Plus, one Oklahoma University frat member expelled for a racist chant is speaking out, apologizing, and that's not all.
And it turns out distracted driving plays a far greater role in teen car crashes than anyone even knew. What a just-released study has uncovered.
Tonight, dramatic video from a police officer's body camera capturing the sights and sounds as he races through a burning home. His frantic search through the smoke to save a toddler. Here's ABC's Steve Osunsami.
Sergeant Joe Hudson's bravery was recorded by the camera he was wearing.
Hello?
At this house fire in Griffin, Georgia on March 16th, he was only expecting to direct traffic when this grandmother told him there was a young boy still inside.
There's a grandbaby.
Firefighters hadn't yet arrived, but Sergeant Hudson, with 3 sons of his own, says he couldn't wait, pushing himself through the smoke, past the kitchen where the fire was burning, and into the back bedroom, where he rescued the 3-year-old who was barely breathing.
Does it feel good to have everyone celebrating a police officer today?
Yes, sir, but not necessarily that it's me that they're making a big fuss over.
Here's video from that same body camera, the grandson finally catching his breath.
What's your name? I'm Joe, man.
The sergeant says it's all in a day's work. Steve Osunsami, ABC News, Griffin, Georgia.
An important new study for parents and their teenage drivers. The report is considered a wake-up call for safe driving. AAA says distracted driving plays a far greater role in teen accidents than previously thought. AAA looked at 1,700 teen accidents. They found distracted driving was a factor in 60% of moderate to severe teen crashes. That's 4 times higher than previously believed.
We're hoping that our central findings of the study will make parents more aware of the magnitude of the problem and the potential for disaster. When you get 2 or 3, especially 3 teenagers in a vehicle at the same time, bad things tend to happen.
Car accidents are the #1 cause of teenage deaths in the U.S. 44 states have banned text messaging for all drivers.
That's scary. Well, we have wind and heat in the forecast. Let's head over to meteorologist Jonathan Novak.
Yeah, connected. You know, with that Santa Ana wind blowing, that's a warming wind, and that's going to mean the heat is on. Once again, folks, that's a live shot from Malibu. Nice, clear skies. That doesn't help. If you're looking for cooler weather, that doesn't help either. Temperatures today, we hit 84 in downtown Los Angeles. Normally, we're at 71. Yeah, way up there, and we're getting into the 90s by tomorrow afternoon. For now, we're going to hang in the 70s for tonight. The winds will kick up a little bit through the valleys, the mountains. 73 right now in downtown with clear skies. And around the board, it looks pretty much like a nice warm evening ahead. Tomorrow afternoon, getting uncomfortable. We're in the upper 70s to lower 80s for everybody here. By the way, that is anywhere from 8 degrees warmer than this time last night to 15 degrees warmer than this time last night. That's a huge jump for 24 hours in Palmdale. Riverside is 13 degrees warmer than yesterday and 14 in Van Nuys compared to this time last night. So, yeah, big changes as this high pressure has really started establishing itself here in the western portion of the U.S. right over us. And we get those winds going around high pressure clockwise. So you get those northeast winds coming down off the mountains. The air compresses and then it warms up. And that's part of the reason, on top of that high pressure being right over us, bearing down, that we're seeing temperatures tomorrow and Friday in the 90s. I think Friday maybe some records as well. So the question is, when does this high get out of here? When does it weaken? Well, it's going to be a few days. This is Friday. You see that ridge of high pressure still right over us. I'm going to bring it through Saturday. Same story. Off to the left of your screen, though, a little bit of energy moving through. A couple little troughs of low pressure here. Going to break down that ridge just enough on Sunday that we will see an onshore flow redevelop. Temperatures drop. Not bad. Sunday's looking pretty good. I mean, I'm not going to give you temperatures at average, but better than this. 94 tomorrow in Los Angeles is just absurdly hot. 94 in Northridge. Lower 90s in the IE around Riverside, 92 and Ontario, and 82 Dana Point. Good beach day. Good beach day on Saturday as well. 70 forecast for LA Metro and Orange County, powered up by AccuWeather. I think Friday is going to be the day that we break a lot of records. 94 both tomorrow and Friday. 84 on Saturday, and then by Sunday we start really cooling it back down into the 70s next week, back into the 80s again. Valleys, IE, a couple of days in the mid-90s. The winds will be kicking up a little bit here, about 25, 35 miles an hour. That's that Santa Ana wind moving through. And then 86 on Saturday is a little cooler, but again, way above average. The beach, warmer, sunny, and then the sea breeze moves in on Saturday and Sunday. That'll help a little bit. Maybe a few morning clouds on Sunday and Monday. Temperatures still hanging into the mid-70s by the end of the forecast. So hot for you as well. The mountains, you're going to approach 70, 68 to 70 on Saturday. That is really warm, of course, for this time of year. The winds will, again, for you guys as well, be out for tomorrow as well. In the high desert, it's going to be a breezy one. Temperatures 83 tomorrow, 86 on Friday are both well above average. And then you're going to stay in the lower 80s from that point on. Shorts, T-shirt, water, all the good stuff you would normally just say it's summer. Feels like it.
We're wearing tank tops on the air tomorrow.
Well, you can see my story later. I'm by the pool.
Okay. Thanks, Jonathan. Tonight, a new development in the case of that scandal at the University of Oklahoma. The fraternity brothers and that racist chant, and now one of the students who was suspended is breaking his silence. ABC's Clayton Sandell has a story.
The former University of Oklahoma freshman and frat boy who led this now infamous racist chant.
Let me start by saying that I'm sorry. Deeply sorry.
Emerged from a private meeting with community leaders and then publicly apologized.
There are no excuses for my behavior. I never thought of myself as a racist. I never considered it a possibility. But the bottom line is that the words that were said in that chant were mean, hateful, and racist.
It's the first time 20-year-old Levi Pettit has spoken out since the video went viral a few weeks ago. Pettit, along with his frat brother Parker Rice, has been expelled. Their fraternity, Sigma Alpha Epsilon, now banned from campus. The letters on SAE's house unceremoniously removed.
I will spend the rest of my life trying to be the person who heals and brings people of all races together.
Pettit was not entirely forthcoming. He would not, for example, say who taught him that racist chant. But many of the community leaders who met with him here at this church say they are willing to forgive. Clayton Sandell, ABC News, Oklahoma City.
Up next, which major car maker is giving its employees a nearly $10,000 bonus?
Plus, are you getting too many speeding tickets? The new car that may be just for you.
And ahead at 7:30, she chose to end her life because of brain cancer. How Brittany Maynard posthumously testified to California lawmakers about the right to die.
Have you racked up too many speeding tickets because you can't seem to slow down? Ford may have just the car for you. It automatically obeys the speed limit. The company's new S-Max cars include technology that uses a camera to read road signs and then adjust the throttle to the appropriate speed. If drivers need to accelerate, they can override the system similar to the way you can with cruise control. The cars are being launched in Europe first, but it will eventually be available worldwide.
Well, it's a good year to be a Porsche employee. The German automaker announced today that all of its workers will get $9,400 in bonuses. That number will be adjusted for part-time employees and new hires. Porsche's CEO thanked his staff for doing a very good job last year. He also urged them not to rest on their laurels.
Wow. We are updating the evening's top stories at 7:30, including a startling new report on what might have led to the Germanwings airliner crash.
Plus, a death investigation at a home that caught fire. What police later found in a woman's vehicle in Tustin. And 3 local dogs killed in a bee attack. All next on Eyewitness News at 7:30 on LA56.
Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News at 7:30 p.m. on LA56.
Major developments in the investigation of that German plane that crashed in the French Alps yesterday. The New York Times is reporting that one pilot may have been locked out of the cockpit. I'm David Ono.
I'm Rutabaga Shabazi in for Colleen Sullivan. This is Eyewitness News on LA56, LA's only live local newscast at 7 p.m. The cockpit voice recorder reportedly reveals the pilot trying to get back inside the cockpit, but there was no response from the other pilot as the plane started going down. 3 Americans were among the 150 people on board. All were killed. The Americans are a U.S. government contractor, and her adult daughter daughter from Virginia, and another American not yet identified. The Germanwings A320 was en route from Barcelona to Dusseldorf when it crashed.
Also tonight, 4 people arrested in the case of Elisa de la Cruz. She was a 3-week-old girl abducted from her Long Beach home in early January. Her parents and uncle shot during the abduction. Investigators say the whole thing centers around a lie Giselle Angelique de Million had told her boyfriend after being pregnant with twins and giving birth to his children. Police believe the 47-year-old was on a mission to kidnap 2 babies to continue her lie. De Million was arrested along with Anthony McCall, her daughter Cherie Shelton, and Todd Boudreau. The reason for killing De La Cruz is still unclear.
A woman has been identified as a person of interest in the death of her mother-in-law. She's also accused of setting the victim's Diamond Bar home on fire. Eyewitness News Orange County Bureau Chief Eileen Frere has the latest from Tustin, where police located the 42-year-old suspect.
Investigators photographed the interior of the vehicle parked on a street in Tustin. Authorities concerned among the bags and other debris crammed inside, they may find the body of a Diamond Bar woman.
Tustin received information that potentially the victim's remains were inside the vehicle. At this point, we haven't searched the interior. We see that there's a lot of property in there. We see a lot of plastic bags.
Investigators say the victim is the mother-in-law of the driver of the vehicle. Early this morning, firefighters put out a fire at the victim's home in Diamond Bar. Arson investigators did not find anyone inside. At the same time in Tustin, police received a tip the daughter-in-law may be responsible for the fire.
One of the occupants may have started the fire intentionally, may have killed one of the other occupants, and was headed to the city of Tustin.
Officers tracked the daughter-in-law down around 6:30 this morning. She was sitting in the vehicle. Police detained her.
She had her hands behind her back, handcuffed. Police were taking pictures of the side of her face, the front of her face.
While police question the driver, her vehicle is towed to the Orange County Coroner's Office for closer examination. Neighbors baffled by what's happened.
Wouldn't you be shocked if someone would take that avenue so drastic?
So far, the victim, the mother-in-law, is still missing. She has not been found. Her daughter-in-law is being questioned by police. The daughter-in-law's vehicle is being closely examined here at the Orange County Coroner's Office in Santa Ana. If you have any information, call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS. You can give information without giving your name. In the meantime, the suspect, the daughter-in-law's name, has not been released. In Santa Ana, Eileen Frere, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
3 dogs in Orange County are killed in a massive bee attack. It happened in the 2200 block of Olive Avenue in Santa Ana. No word on what caused the swarm to attack. The giant hive was discovered in a shed in the rear of the property. A bee specialist was called in to remove it. No other injuries have been reported.
Long Beach family is suing a food company claiming their child died after eating one of their products. But the company, which makes vegetarian meat substitutes, is fighting back, denying any allegations of wrongdoing. Eyewitness News reporter Leanne Suter has more from both sides.
I miss my son every day, and it's hard to function. I randomly drive, pull over, and cry. I'm cooking, and I'll cry.
Paris Benko and Anne-Marie Cote say they grieve the loss of their son every day. They have now filed suit against the food company they say is to blame for Miles Benko's death. The wrongful death lawsuit claims the 11-year-old died after having a severe allergic reaction to a Corn Foods turkey burger.
We applied the EpiPen, and it didn't work. And then his mouth started to foam, and he started to stiffen out.
Their attorneys say Miles had a severe mold allergy, but the label on the turkey burger made no mention of mold, which they say it contains.
The product, which was labeled mycoprotein, said to be construed to be a mushroom-based product, actually contained 47% mold.
On its website, Corn Foods describes mycoprotein as a member of the fungi mold family. The company categorically rejects the claims of the lawsuit, saying in a statement, quote, "We sympathize with the Benko family and the tragic loss that they have endured, but their attempt to ameliorate this tragedy by way of a lawsuit against Corn Foods is misguided. We will vigorously defend our company and the safety of our products against these allegations." Corn also says the LA County medical examiner concluded Miles died from an asthma attack. Miles' parents say they filed suit to try to ensure no one else suffers the same devastating loss.
The bottom line is Corn chose marketing over consumer safety, and that's what killed Miles.
In Long Beach, Leanne Suter, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
In Fullerton, a homeowner catches a would-be burglar in action, and it's all caught on camera. It happened around 9:15 last night in the 2800 block of Ashbury Court. Police say a woman alerted her husband about the burglary. The homeowner spotted the guy, and he took off. Police say the same suspect broke into another home in the same gated community 20 minutes before.
Day one of a courtroom showdown between the wife of former Clippers owner Donald Sterling and his mistress. On the line, $3.6 million worth of gifts. Both Donald Sterling and his wife Shelley took the stand today. She claims V. Stiviano defrauded and abused her husband. Shelley Sterling says the gifts her husband gave Stiviano were from a community trust and that she wants it all back. That includes a house, luxury cars, and cash. Stiviano's attorney says there's no proof that the funds in her account came from Sterling.
The Supreme Court is siding with a former UPS driver and throwing out lower court rulings that rejected her lawsuit. Peggy Young sued her employer, UPS, after the company argued her doctor-ordered request for light duty because she was pregnant was outside the law. But after the Supreme Court agreed to hear the case, two big changes happened. UPS voluntarily decided to allow accommodations for pregnancy-related physical limitations, and the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission issued new guidelines on pregnancy-related discrimination that favor Young's case. A video from 29-year-old Brittany Maynard, was played today at an emotional hearing in Sacramento nearly 4 months after her assisted suicide in Oregon. Lawmakers are looking into a right-to-die bill here in California, and reporter Laura Anthony on our sister station KGO has more.
I am heartbroken that I had to leave behind my home, my community, and my friends in California.
They are the words of a terminally ill young woman meant to make a lasting impression long after her death.
But I am dying, and I refuse to lose my dignity. I refuse to subject myself and my family to purposeless, prolonged pain and suffering at the hands of an incurable disease.
This video testimony from Brittany Maynard was made 18 days before she chose to end her life, with medication prescribed for that purpose in Oregon.
She took a stand and she said, "Oh, Mama, I hope that other people will speak up when I'm gone."
Maynard's mother and husband appeared in Sacramento in support of Senate Bill 128, called the End of Life Option Act. Opponents testified the bill would basically sanction suicide.
Personally, I have an issue with a person deciding when they are going to end their life. And I think that we as a society should.
Brittany intentionally put this video together to be played to legislators, the people who have the ability to influence change.
If it clears the Senate Health Committee, SB 128 would move on to the full Senate.
Knowing that I can leave this life with dignity allows me to focus on living.
In Sacramento, Laura Anthony for ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Much more news still to come, including a controversial new ordinance in one community.
Up next, why some local residents are now being allowed to kill squirrels.
All right, looking live out over Laguna Beach, inklings of sun over what was a pretty warm day today, but it's getting hot in that 70 forecast. Record highs ahead.
Some people think they're cute, some people think they're pests, and now it's open season on some squirrels in Riverside. The city has given people the go-ahead to trap or kill them, but not all squirrels. Inland Empire reporter Leticia Juarez tells us which ones and why.
For some, the eastern fox squirrel is a nuisance.
They're little predators.
But for others,
they're lovely.
One thing residents of the Wood Streets neighborhood in Riverside can agree on, the squirrels are everywhere.
They run around your roof and they run around and they made a nest in my attic and then...
Buddy Nichols says he's tried to get them to stay away.
I went to the garden supply and they had some squirrel go away and it doesn't work.
The city is now allowing residents to do more by trapping or killing the bushy-tailed rodents.
There's a big enough population, they're causing enough problems that I felt, and the council unanimously supported, people want to be able to try to control on their own property.
Oh, I'm very glad to hear that.
Henry Ross has had it with the non-native tree squirrels and their appetite.
They have taken the blossoms off my apricot tree 3 years in a row.
This year, he's taking matters into his own hands with this trap he borrowed from a friend.
He says he has relocated about 40 of these squirrels with one of these traps.
But not all neighbors agree the squirrels are a problem.
Again, I don't understand how they could bother anyone.
They're not bothering us. I mean, not bothering that much so far.
The new ordinance will not apply to the native gray squirrel or those protected by state and federal law.
The ordinance will take effect next month, and while residents will be allowed to trap or poison the squirrels, they will not be allowed to shoot them. Reporting in Riverside, Leticia Juarez, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
We're seeing more incredible drone video of the gray whales near Dana Point last Thursday. Captain Todd captured 2 whales playfully courting as they migrate north. You can see the Pacific white-sided dolphin pestering the whales. It looks as if the whales slap the dolphin as it appears again near the marine mammals.
Huh. That's interesting. Beautiful video at that.
Yeah, gorgeous.
All right. Well, Jonathan Novak, he's up next with the details on a big warm-up.
Plus, could 2016 be the year the NFL returns to the Southland? NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell speaks out.
And keeping your kids safe during spring break, some high-tech gadgets that may help.
A lot more heat coming our way, and it's been windy too, Jonathan. Let's head over for a check on weather.
Windy, and in parts of the country, we're going to start here in the live Megan Alper 7000 HD, still stormy. So while we're dealing with the heat, they still got severe weather. You see those cells right here, south of Oklahoma City? As those are heading from west to east, that's severe weather, bringing 1 to 3 inches every couple of hours of rain, and they're seeing wind gusts of 60 miles an hour, quarter-size hail with these storms. We looked at that video earlier from Tulsa with the tornadic activity, and for us, again, it's just been hot and dry as we look at the live Mega Doppler 7000 HD locally. Live sweeps heading around, nothing doing. We're not going to add anything on that screen for the whole 7-day, but what we're looking at are the temperatures, and they're going to be rising really for tomorrow and for Friday big time. Laguna Beach is a time lapse, hardly a cloud if you could find one there. As the sun went down, it was just clear. One of the elements there that's going to help to keep us way above average. Today's highs, we even hit 90 already. In Corona, Fillmore 89. Woodland Hills hit 87. That was your high. Torrance 81 and Pasadena 88. So well above the normals for this time of year already. And tomorrow we're going to bump up those numbers quite a bit. Laguna Beach right now, 67 with a light breeze. Had some winds in Van Nuys yesterday, last night, of course. They've calmed down, of course, tonight, 6 miles an hour. We'll see some of the winds kick in again tonight through tomorrow. That's going to be a Santa Ana wind. It's going to get our temps up into the 90s. But for now, we're at 77 in Fullerton, 73 in Long Beach, 67 in Santa Monica. Warm evening. High pressure's in control. You see this right here. That's that center of high pressure right over the state. And those winds around high pressure, of course, go clockwise. So we get that wind flow coming in right off the mountains, and that air will compress down the slopes. That's the Santa Ana wind, and that's what helps to warm that air and get us about 23 degrees above average tomorrow and Friday. And the question ends up being, really, when do we get the high pressure to get out of here to weekend? It's going to be Saturday into Sunday. So for Friday, Thursday, Friday, it's still right over us. Now watch what happens on Saturday and into Sunday. A couple of troughs of low pressure move in, kind of break up, or weaken, I should say, that high pressure on Sunday. That onshore flow will develop again, and that's going to bring some morning clouds at the coast and the temperatures back closer to average. But for tomorrow, look at that, 94 in Los Angeles. Normally we're around 71. 94 Pasadena, 92 Riverside. 7-day forecast for LA Metro and Orange County, powered up by AccuWeather. Breezy, that's a Santa Ana wind there, 25 to 35. We're not looking right now, at least, at any wind advisories, but still a little bit breezy. And then 94 on Friday, 84 on Saturday, finally back in the mid-70s on Sunday with that onshore flow in play. Valley's IE 2 days in the mid-90s is very hot. 86 on Saturday and Sunday into the 70s again. The beach looks really nice. Get to the coast on Thursday and Friday, you're in the mid-80s. Back down to 70 by Sunday. No rain, just a few clouds by Sunday and Monday. The mountains are going to be breezy. Temperatures around 61 to 66 here. You're nearing 70 by Saturday. Wow, that is extremely warm for this time of year. And then the winds are kicking up there in the high desert. For most of the forecast, your temperatures obviously well above average too. So no cool down, no big cool down for everybody. It's going to be kind of, well, spring break weather. 2 words, spring break, that strike fear in the hearts of any parent. But you know, there are now tech gadgets that would probably put your mind at ease. Here's a look at everything from an app to an SOS button designed to keep spring break safe. While your kids are off enjoying their spring break, you can kick back and relax a little bit yourself, knowing that your kid is safer with the app GeoShore. It tells you how safe an area is based on official reports as well as those from its global community. And if you thought you can't always know exactly where your kids are, well, tech expert Andrew Felix says, think again.
The VEC 2 Max is actually going to be able to ping back a location of an actual person or thing.
The VEC 2 can also avoid that dreaded lost luggage and even help in that worst-case scenario.
You've got an SOS button on the top so that somebody knows exactly where you are in case of emergency.
And you won't break down about their car breaking down if they have the Juno jumper.
You've actually got jumper cables that you can attach to the end of this, let it charge for a minute, turn over your car is going to start.
It also charges their phone, so you can call them on the hour every hour. To plug in their devices, they can use the S-Cross World Adapter Evo USB. It powers up 2-pole devices worldwide.
Floating in water right here.
They can make sure at least one of those devices stays safe, their tablet, with a Satechi waterproof case.
If it does fall into the pool or the ocean, as you can see, it's going to float.
Finally, if you decide you're going to take your own spring break, you can leave the house safe and sound with the August Smart Lock. It controls who can enter your house using your smartphone. No more code to punch or keys to turn. It means a little more time to catch a few rains. It's funny that the sunscreen matches the color of my skin. I'm that pale.
I didn't notice the sunscreen.
Not good. I just want to mention one app for the kids. You know, for you guys going on spring break, there's one called Travel Amino. This is a really cool social media app. This is like social networking for travelers. It's got everything travel. Check it out. You can see where other people have gone. If they're in your area and you might know or maybe not know someone, you can meet up, or restaurants, everything for travel is right there in your hand.
Great.
There you go.
Thanks, Jonathan. Great story. Thanks. NFL owners' meetings wrapped up in Phoenix today, and during the 4-day confab, they were updated on the league's possible relocation of one or two teams in the Los Angeles area. And one of the possible stadium sites is Carson, where today they held the Petition Mission Accomplished Parade. 41 boxes containing more than 15,000 signed petitions were taken to the clerk's office. That's more than enough to get a proposed stadium for the Raiders and Chargers on the ballot or gain City Council approval. Commissioner Roger Goodell was asked if the NFL might return to LA as soon as next year.
I do expect that we'll be hearing from all three teams, not only to the league staff, but also to the committee sometime in late April. There'll be a lot of dialogue. There's a tremendous amount of focus on the stadium alternatives, looking at those stadium alternatives, marketing studies in all of the markets, including current markets. So there's a great deal of work being done, and I would expect that will continue at a very disciplined pace.
Spring training baseball, Dodgers hosting the San Diego Padres, and Yasiel Puig looks like he is ready to start the season. Will Myers leads off the game with a bloop single in front of Puig, and he makes a wide turn at first, and you don't do that on Yasiel. Puig fires to first, and he guns Myers down. More spectacular play from Puig in the first inning, and he's now at the dish, and he's a strong dude. He rockets one out to left, his 8th hit, 4th home run, and 10th RBI of the spring. One of 4 home runs for the Dodgers, and they cruise to a 9-5 win. To Tempe, and Mike Scioscia and the Angels hosting the Tribe, and outfielder Mike Joyce trying to win a starting spot, and this will help. Joyce hits his first home run in Texas League play. He's batting over 400. Joyce back and left for the first time since complaining about a tight right hamstring. And the hammy gets tested right here, and with the bases loaded, he gets a good jump. He makes the nice diving grab. The Angels down the Indians 4-3.
Longtime Eyewitness News weatherman Dr. George Fishback has died.
And up next, we'll look back at a TV news legend known for his sense of humor and for his generous heart.
And ahead tonight on Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7, a bus is swallowed by a sinkhole in the road and swept away. So what happened to the passengers? Plus, a Santa Clarita restaurant owner is arrested for human trafficking. These stories and all the late-breaking news on Southern California's #1 late newscast, Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7. Longtime Eyewitness News weatherman and our good friend, Dr. George Fishback, has passed away at the age of 92.
And Rick Romero looks back at a man with a passion for weather and for life.
Dr. George and the entire Eyewitness News team.
For nearly 20 years, a TV news viewer in the Southland couldn't turn on the set without seeing the smiling, passionate weatherman in the bow tie. Dr. George was an icon who made Eyewitness News #1 in weather and news.
He took the time to stop and explain exactly what the fundamentals of what was happening instead of just actually saying, oh yeah, it's real windy up there.
As a former science teacher in New Mexico, Dr. George was well suited to teach us about not only cutoff lows and cumulus clouds, but also earthquakes. We were all his pupils, including Eyewitness News meteorologist Dallas Raines.
Dr. George was my greatest inspiration, no doubt about it. I mean, when you'd come into the office every day, he had such enthusiasm.
Although Dr. George was a star, without today's technology, he still made sure he had the most up-to-date information from the National Weather Service before going on the air.
After I make my daily dash to the studio, I still like to make a last-minute check, the old-fashioned way. A phone call.
It's 6 o'clock. What's the latest weather?
I grew up with Dr. George. He was the face of science. He was the heart of science. But he also was somebody who gave you practical science.
2 years ago, the Los Angeles City Council honored the weatherman with his own day.
He was an angel in the City of Angels, and now he's with the angels. We will miss Dr. George. God bless his soul. I know if he were here right beside me right now, I would say, celebrate life.
This is...
That was great. Dr. George will miss him. He was wonderful. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Law & Order SVU is next.